Thanks everyone for joining us today. We're here to present to you the Synera 25.07 Notorious Neptune release. My name is Andrew Sartorelli. I'm the head of product management here at Synera. And joining me today are Sophie and Ram. Sophie.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining.
And Ram.
Same from me. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for your time today with us.
So it's a real pleasure to have you both here. Ram has recently joined us on the product management team, so I'm very excited to have him here presenting a little sneak peek at what his team's been working on. And with that, let's get started. So with our latest release, 25.07, we've introduced 28 new features and 64 bug fixes. So we really appreciate everyone that continues to provide us feedback and submits bug reports and feature ideas. It definitely helps guide us. And today, with our Notorious Neptune release, it's really all about convenience through simplicity. Convenience of interfacing with some of the different ways you work with workflows in Synera, convenience in the workflows that you know and trust, and maybe some new ways of accessing convenience through AI. So we've got these three major focus areas we're going to walk you through, each one of us. And I'm really happy to start with. I'm going to hand it over to Sophie to talk about what her team's been working on.
Thank you, Andrew. Right, so my team has been up to implementing return to sessions. So returning to sessions enables consumers of Synera Run workflows to now close their browser tab without losing progress or results and to return to their workflows later. The computation will continue in the background, and then from any device, you can later resume your work. This is really enhancing reliability, flexibility, and convenience for Synera Run consumers with computations of any length. And you've heard it already, our focus for the whole Notorious Neptune release was simplicity. And this was also the case for the return to session. And according to our test users, this was a success. We had a couple of them. Here, Isabel from Miele said that she didn't even have to think about it. It just made sense to her when using it and testing it. Leon from Hans Grohe stated that the application is very simple and user-friendly and the potential data loss is minimized. Then we had Erik from IMS Gear saying that it works exactly like he expected it to, no problems at all in usage. Christian from Miele found the right buttons immediately, and it was very intuitive for him. Andreas, also from Andreas from Hettich, he also kept it simple in his statement. So simple and so good was what he had to say. And then René from Purim even gave us a little praise in the end and said, good work, that was easy. So I'm very curious what all of you think when you get your hands onto this new release and you test return to session. Let me know if you agree with our test users, if you have some ideas what we can do better in the future and what you really love about it. All right, let's look at what it's actually contained. So now if you close a tab, the computation continues. And if you then go to the server overview page, for each workflow, you will now find the session overview. And in the session overview, you will see all your open sessions. You will see the timestamps and the status of that session, like is the computation continued, is it running, is it in progress, maybe an error occurred. So there you will get this very nice overview that will help you to understand where your different configurations are running. And then you can return to your individual sessions from this overview, making sure that progress and results stay accessible and continue to be easy to find. All right, and then we also allow you to rename your sessions and delete them, just making sure that you can customize your overview and manage your sessions so that you only see what's relevant for you, that you can differentiate easily, and you can even improve this overview yourself. And then I think this is a really big highlight that's coming with Notorious Neptune. You can now enter session from multiple devices. So let's say you start your computation at your desk, on your desk computer, you start entering some inputs, start the computation, and you leave for lunch, and you later remember, oh, I need to check this, but you're in a different building now. You can just open your laptop or your phone, return to that session via either a link or also the overview page, and then you can just resume your work there. You can still interact with the viewer. You can see what inputs you set. You can download results. You can start new computations. So yeah, this being able to access your session from multiple devices is really giving you a lot of flexibility and freedom in how you're working with Synera Run, because we want to make sure that you can work with Synera Run when you need it, where you need it, and get value whenever. And then so far, I've shown you what the consumers see. For the creators, there's a bit more to see. They have a bit more power than the consumers. They are creating the workflows, they're publishing them, and they're sharing them with consumers. And they are also able to see not just their own session, but actually also the sessions of their consumers. So in their session overview table, they will see, of course, their own session, which they can edit the name to delete and open. But then also they will see sessions of other consumers where they can just see the status, when it was last used, and the session owner, and they have the power to delete sessions where they know they're no longer needed, to also clean up a bit, which admins also can do. And yeah, we want to make sure that creators are able to understand how at a given point their workflow is being used, if maybe a consumer needs some help here, if they're facing an error. And also, hopefully this will help you a bit to promote the adoption of your workflows in your company. And then you see very small in the bottom of the table that sessions will be automatically deleted after 30 days of inactivity. This is a default setting that you can also change in the config file. So just to make sure we're not overcrowding your server overview page, after 30 days of inactivity, a session will be automatically deleted. So let's look at return to sessions and movement. We have the consumer view here. They can open a new session, change inputs, and then directly change the session title. Here our consumer is creating some different configurations and is simultaneously looking at different configurations, letting them calculate in parallel, and keeping an overview through changing the session name. And starting a third one here, there's some different ways to go about that. And all of those tabs are now closed, and they check the computation status and see one of the sessions is completed. So they return, they can still interact with the viewer, they're in an active session again, download the results, and at this point decide I no longer need the session. The results are the value I need, so they can delete that session and let the others continue computing. Here we have our creator of that workflow. They see also the two sessions our test creator has just created, our test consumer has just created, but also they see other sessions and have the power to delete not needed sessions. All right, so that's what is all inside of return to sessions. And we want to make sure that if you lose your browser tab in a mess of many browser tabs, I know some of you like to have lots of them open, or maybe you want to start a computation over the weekend, but in your company, the laptop shut down over the weekend. In all of these cases, we make sure that you can seamlessly resume your work once you return to work. And that means you no longer need an open tab. You can just set inputs, start a computation, close the tab, and return later without any problems. Also, you can have multiple sessions open simultaneously while having a clear overview over all of them. This ensures that you can always return to progress and results in an easy way, and they stay accessible to you. And then deleting and renaming sessions allows you to manage this overview, customize it for your own needs. And then, yeah, the access from multiple devices really ensures flexibility in how and when you are using Synera Run workflows. So with return to sessions, you can now confidently start long-running workflows and also retrieve the results later. Ultimately, this feature enhances the convenience of Synera Run, and you can now work with workflows of any length without thinking about it. All right, so that's from my side, and I'm now excited to hand over to Ram for a sneak peek.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sophie. Yeah, you're probably one of our customers who already have their hands on this, or you watched one of our last webinars. But we want to take this opportunity to give you a sneak peek on some exciting things we have been working on, and that is multi-agents for engineering. Now, agents are another way of automation, and with Notorious Neptune, you can now also use, build, and process automate via agents. Specifically, what we have worked on is a capability to build your first agent. So right now, I'm using an agent node and connecting it to a large language model connected to your hyperscaler recommended by your IT. And then we start by prompting this agent to give it a more, let's say, a special focus. And what we will start now is defining the responsibilities for this agent. For example, now I'm going to build an FE agent. So I specify what this agent is supposed to do. And it's going to probably help me analyze the incoming inputs and perform FE simulation. Now, what I can also do is consume some of my existing run workflows as tools for this agent, so they have the right tools at the right time to respond autonomously. And with this, you can already build your first agent and assign it tools. Now, we can also go one step beyond and build multiple agents. So right now here I have a case where it's not just one agent anymore, but they are domain-specific agents with one specific task and one specific run workflow as a tool. And these are right now connected to LLM. What we can do is simply connect these agents, which will thereby enable them to talk to the supervisor and also communicate critical information to respond autonomously. We can also let them talk between each other for a process like RFQ, and this way they can be really faster in decision-making processes. So that was as easy as a few clicks to connect your agents together and form multi-agents. And now this is just the building part. What we have also allowed is to consume these agents. So what we can do is, for example, in this system, we have 3 agents together connected to LLM with tools. I'm going to save this workflow locally. Let me just give it a name and a description, what this is going to help me with. So what we have here is kind of a design advisor agent that will take in a bunch of guidelines and help me with recommendation. And now once I publish this, I get this front end where I can chat with the system. And that's what we will do now. Let's ask how the system can help us. And the advisor or the supervisor says it can help us with plastic panel design. And it has a couple of questions in mind or inputs that it can start with. And we can start by saying, I would like to design a panel for exhaust systems. And now what will happen is that all the 3 agents that we had will talk to each other. And these agents can also use their tool, as we see right now. So it sets some inputs, it retrieves some outputs, and pass this information gracefully between the agents, allowing the system to come up with a recommendation. So right now, these agents had their own domains, they work with each other, and now they say, maybe you have to give me one information that's missing, what's the operating temperature, but these are here the general recommendations. And we can keep chatting with the system and try to be faster in our day-to-day work. Now that's what we have worked on the last few months with some of you. And what this means is that now you can create multi-agents, and these can access large language models. You can create domain-focused agents. You can even provide Synera Run workflows as tools to these agents and build a supervisor agent architecture. That means you can create your own swarm of agents for specific tasks. That was what we worked on from our team, and handing over to you, Andrew.
Thanks, Ram. Really exciting stuff you guys have been working on, Sophie and Ram, and really exciting to see what some of our customers are already doing with it. I know if you want to be part of this sneak peek and early access, definitely reach out to your customer success manager, and they can loop you in on how you can also get some access here. I'm going to talk a bit about some of the user-based improvements we've been working on over the past few months. As I said at the start, we really appreciate the feedback we get from you, whether you submit a feature idea or a support ticket with a report of a bug, or maybe in your meetings with your customer success manager or solution engineer, you mentioned something. Sophie, Ram, and myself, we definitely take heed of all of that feedback. And the past few months, we've really been focused on delivering on some of those improvements. So the first one I want to talk about is now in Synera Run. You're going to be able to visualize data now with colors, so we can add colors on curves. And this will give you a bit more rich context on the information that you can display inside the viewer in Synera Run, right? We know that the world is generally a bit more colorful, and so we've added the capability there to visualize more information. The other thing we've done is added the ability to include instructions for Synera Run workflows. So now your colleagues, when they're creating workflows, can link to a Confluence page or an intranet page or a SharePoint site and allow you to get some more information about how to execute this workflow. We know that typically you're creating PDFs or Word documents that store all of this information. And so now there's a much easier way to allow consumers to have access to that. And you can see on the right-hand side, just a very easy instructions button will now show up when you use this option inside Synera Run. We've also been working on some new nodes, of course. The first one I want to talk about is the unbend body node. And this is really targeting at simple sheet metal parts. And like its name suggests, we can unbend bodies. So this is great if you already have a sheet metal part and you want to unwrap it, unbend it, and then maybe generate some drawings. Or maybe you want to perform the forming simulations using our LS-DYNA connection. You can start to construct those processes now with our ability to unbend geometry. You've got the option to provide a K factor, which is a pretty typical factor for kind of the stretching of material during this process, along with a few different other options there. So very exciting to see what some folks are going to be able to create with that. The next one, again, one of our customers in the area of turbo machinery said, hey, we want to apply some loads and boundary conditions in our FEA setups, but we can only use rectangular coordinate systems, right? And we end up with something like on the right-hand side here, where all of our forces are pointing in one direction. We've gone ahead, and maybe it's not so easy to see from the arrows here, but we've added the ability to use cylindrical coordinate systems. So this is going to be really important if you're working with turbo machinery and you want to start to apply loads with this cylindrical coordinate system. You can define that coordinate system here and then apply it to your forces, your moments, your typical loads that you might be applying in your FEA setup. And of course, going to be able to export those off to your respective third-party FEA solvers there as well. The next one comes where we've added the ability to import attributes or more attributes from CAD models. So we added the ability to see an attribute called body density. As you can imagine, it's the density of the material that's defined for our body, for our part. And so now with filter attributes, you're going to get access to this. This is going to be really useful to you if you're starting to generate bombs with Synera. I know a lot of folks use us to automate generating some of these simple PowerPoint bombs. Using this, you can now introduce the material density into the bomb that you've created there. And again, that's an additional attribute name that's going to be selectable. We added explicit dynamics in our last release. Some of you up to some very interesting things, impact analyses, crash simulations. In this case, we've, you can see the velocity generate animations, but one of the problems was you couldn't actually extract some of the information. So we've added acceleration and velocity responses. And what this is going to enable you to do is if you want to start to use the evaluate results option to extract maybe the maximum or the summation of certain values here, you're going to be able to do that now thanks to this additional velocity response and acceleration response, which will be useful for your explicit dynamic type analyses. So in summary, in terms of user-driven improvements, we've added some new nodes like unbend. We've added the ability to extract additional results for a variety of solvers using evaluate results, new attributes available with our CAD imported geometry, Synera Run enhanced with the ability to include instructions and visualize colored curves. Of course, in addition to all of these capabilities, we've also added or fixed a number of bugs that have been reported by you, our users. I recommend to take a look at the release notes that are inside Synera. When you open up the new version for the first time, you'll see a what's new. You can open a workflow there, and we've documented a lot of the other things that we've addressed in this release. Of course, we're not in this alone. Synera, we have our marketplace, and so we've had a lot of activity there in the past few months since our last release. I'm going to highlight a few of those updates. Just yesterday, we released the Materialize Magics SDK connector, giving you the ability to do file repair or file preparation inside your Synera workflows by connecting off to the Materialize Magics SDK. We've got more connectors for PLM products like Windchill, like Contact. So very exciting things there. And we've added an RPA add-in as well. And this is going to let you robotically control certain applications on your Windows machines using kind of a little robot that you can create yourself, which is going to really work well if you've got some legacy applications that don't have APIs and we haven't built out connectors to. Or maybe there's some mundane tasks you want to tie in that don't lend themselves to being accessed through API. The RPA add-in from StoneDev is a great tool there. So two of the new add-ins that we've brought forward are that one is the PanX connector. This is very exciting if you're in the field of metal additive manufacturing. We can now generate PanX analysis files, run them directly inside Synera by connecting off to the PanX solver that you may already have installed in your machine. What we're really seeing here is the ability to cover an end-to-end additive manufacturing process from design to simulation to exporting to your machines. So really exciting what we've got here, and probably the industry-leading solver for metal additive manufacturing. The other thing we've done is we've also added the nesting capabilities from Inkbit. I've been in the additive space for a while. This is one of the most exciting sets of nesting capabilities I've seen in a long time. And this is going to be available as a module today inside Synera. So no external licenses needed. Really excited to see what some folks are going to be able to do here. Great for your SLS or multi-jet fusion build jobs that you may be automating inside Synera today. And of course, a lot of other capabilities coming through our marketplace. So definitely take a look and see what's been updated recently. We've updated also a variety of our CAD integrations to allow you to update or import the latest versions of CAD geometry from your favorite CAD tool. So in summary, what we saw today, we saw Sophie talking about return to session, the ability to access your results from Synera Run on multiple devices, to close that browser tab and go off and do something else and then come back and still have persistency there, which is great. We saw Ram give us a nice little sneak peek of multi-agent systems and really where the future of engineering is going, some say. And then we've got a lot of user-driven improvements, bug fixes that we've added to the software, and of course, great marketplace updates from our partners. Now, of course, the question, as always, when are we going to be able to get access to this new version? And I can happily say that it is available today. You can go on to portal.synera.io. Hopefully I've got the URL right this time, and download this latest version and start working with some of these new capabilities today. So thank you all for joining us today and learning a bit about the latest in Notorious Neptune. And with that, we'll end the webinar. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.